The Hollywood filmmakers have produced some of the greatest benchmark romantic comedy movies that even after a century are remembered. Great love stories with sizzling romance and a little spice of comedy make the entire story worth watching. Romantic comedies always leave a magical print on viewers' hearts. Welcome to Binge TV, and here are the top 10 best romantic comedy movies. 10th place, An Affair to Remember. An Affair to Remember is a 1957 film that is considered as one of the most romantic films of all time, according to the American Film Institute. Nicky Ferrante, a well-known playboy, meets Terry McKay, who both are involved with someone else. After a series of meetings, they establish a friendship. When Terry joins Nicky on a brief visit to his grandmother, the ship is anchored near her home at Villefranche-sur-Mer on the Mediterranean coast. She falls in love with Nicky. As the ship returns to New York City, they promise to meet again at the top of the Empire State Building in 6 months. When the day comes, Terry hurries to reach the building but gets severely injured in an accident. Meanwhile, Nicky waits for her at the top of the building, unaware of the accident, leaves at midnight thinking she has rejected him. Terry, now unable to walk, refuses to contact Nicky because of her disability. She becomes a music teacher. Nicky has pursued his painting and has his work displayed by an art gallery owner. 6 months after the accident, Terry sees Nicky with his former fiancé at the ballet, which she is attending with her former boyfriend. Nicky does not notice her condition because she is seated. 9th place, Crazy Stupid Love. Crazy Stupid Love is a 2011 American romantic comedy film starring Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei, and Kevin Bacon. The film grossed over $142 million and was nominated for a Golden Globe Award. Cal Weaver's wife Emily asks for a divorce after she reveals that she had an affair with her coworker. After moving into his apartment, Cal talks loudly about his divorce until he attracts the attention of a young man named Jacob Palmer. Jacob takes pity on Cal and offers to teach him how to attract women. Cal seduces Kate at the bar, and this experience gives him the confidence to approach other women. Cal and Emily reunite at their 13-year-old son's parent-teacher conference, where Emily is impressed by Cal's confidence and fitted clothes, but soon comes to know that Cal had an affair with other women. 8th place, Say Anything. Say Anything is a 1989 film. In 2002, Entertainment Weekly ranked Say Anything as the greatest modern movie romance, and it was ranked number 11 on Entertainment Weekly's list of the 50 best high school movies. Near the end of their senior year of high school, Lloyd Dobler falls for Diane Court and plans to ask her out, though they belong to different social groups. Lloyd asks Diane to accompany him to their after-graduation party, to which she agrees. Their next date is a dinner at the Court household, where Lloyd fails to impress Diane's family, and Jim is informed that he is under investigation by the Internal Revenue Service. Diane takes Lloyd to meet the residents of the retirement home, and he teaches her to drive the manual transmission Ford Tempo that her father gave her as a graduation present. Lloyd's musician friend Corey, who has never gotten over her cheating ex-boyfriend Joe, warns him to take care of Diane. Diane, worried about her father, tells Lloyd she wants to stop seeing him and concentrate on her studies, and tells him to take her pen. By the end of the summer, Jim has been imprisoned. Lloyd gives Jim a letter from Diane saying she cannot forgive him, but she arrives to say goodbye, and they embrace. 7th place, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. My Big Fat Greek Wedding is a 2002 romantic comedy film. The film became the highest-grossing romantic comedy of all time and grossed $241.4 million in North America. Fatoula Tula Portokalos is a member of a large Greek family that wants her to get married and have children. She works in a family restaurant but longs to do something more with her life. One day she meets Ian Miller, a handsome, white, Anglo-Saxon Protestant man. That evening, Tula offers to go to college, but her father Gus disagrees. Tula changes her whole attire and looks prettier and more confident. Tula's happiness working at the travel agency catches Ian's attention, and he asks her to dinner. Knowing her family wouldn't approve of her dating a non-Greek, Tula lies that she is taking a pottery class to see Ian. Ian eventually realizes Tula is the waitress from the restaurant. Contrary to Tula's fear that he would lose interest in her, Ian reaffirms his fondness for her. They continue dating and fall in love. 6th place, My Best Friend's Wedding. My Best Friend's Wedding is a 1997 American romantic comedy film. The film stars Julia Roberts, Dermot Mulroney, Cameron Diaz, and Rupert Everett. The film was a global box office hit. The soundtrack song I Say a Little Prayer making it a U.S. Billboard Hot 100 hit. 3 weeks before her 28th birthday, Julianne Potter receives a call from her lifelong friend Michael O'Neill telling her that he is getting married soon. Julianne remembers that years earlier both agreed that if they were both unmarried by age 28, they would marry each other. Realizing that Michael is the love of her life, Jules decides to stop his wedding. Arriving in Chicago, she reunites with Michael and meets Kimmy, who asks her to be the maid of honor. Jules schemes to break up the couple, but her attempt fails. Jules tells Michael that she is engaged to George, hoping to make Michael jealous. George, who is gay, plays along but embarrasses Jules at lunch with the wedding party, singing I Say a Little Prayer as the whole restaurant joins in. George flies home, and Jules tells Michael that her relationship with George is over. Michael admits to feeling jealous and gives her the chance to confess her feelings, but she lets the moment pass. 5th place, Bridget Jones' Diary. Bridget Jones's Diary is a 2001 romantic comedy film. The film grossed over $280 million worldwide. The success of the film spawned a Bridget Jones franchise, with 2 equally successful sequels being released: Bridget Jones: The Edge of Reason and Bridget Jones's Baby. Bridget Jones is 32, a single lady who is always worried about her stressful life and increasing weight. She works at a publishing company and fantasizes about her handsome boss, Daniel Cleaver. At her parents' New Year party, she meets Mark Darcy, a childhood friend and barrister. Mark finds Bridget foolish, and Bridget thinks Mark is arrogant. She hears Mark grumbling about her with his mother, a verbally incontinent spinster who smokes like a chimney, drinks like a fish, and dresses like her mother. Bridget gets furious and decides to be more confident. She begins keeping a diary to chronicle her attempts to stop smoking, stop drinking, lose weight, and find her Mr. Right. Bridget and Daniel begin to flirt ahead of an important book launch, at which Bridget bumps into Mark and his glamorous colleague Natasha. Bridget leaves with Daniel, and they have dinner. Daniel tells Bridget that he and Mark were formerly friends, but says Mark slept with his fiancée, for which they now hate each other. Bridget is invited to a costume party with Daniel. The morning of the party, Daniel says he must return to London for work and leaves Bridget to enjoy the party alone. When she returns to London, she finds out about Daniel's affair with Lara. Bridget cuts ties with him and searches for a new career. 4th place, There's Something About Mary. There's Something About Mary is a 1998 American romantic comedy featuring Ben Stiller, Matt Dillon, Lee Evans, and Chris Elliott. The film became a major box office success, grossing over $369 million worldwide. It is placed 27th in the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Laughs, America's Funniest Movies, a list of the 100 funniest movies of the 20th century. In 2000, readers of Total Film magazine voted There's Something About Mary the 4th greatest comedy film of all time. In 1985, 16-year-old high school student Theodore Ted is about to go on a prom date with his dream girl Mary Jensen, but ends up in a hospital. 13 years later, in 1998, 29-year-old Ted is still in love with Mary. Ted hires private investigator Healy to track her down. Healy discovers that she is an orthopedic surgeon living in Miami. Healy falls in love with Mary and lies to Ted about Mary, telling him that she is overweight and has 4 kids with 3 different men. Healy quits his job and returns to Miami to pursue her. He resorts to lying, cheating, and stalking to win Mary over. They spend several weeks dating before Mary's friend Tucker exposes him as a fraud. After subsequently tailing Tucker, Healy discovers him to be a fraud himself. He is an American pizza delivery boy named Norm Phipps, who is also in love with Mary. Years earlier, Norm intentionally injured himself to get close to Mary, hoping that she would take him on as a patient. Although his injury has long since healed, he pretends to be disabled to gain Mary's sympathy. Third place, The Ugly Truth. The Ugly Truth is a 2009 American romantic comedy film starring Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler. Abby Richter is a morning show TV producer in California. She believes in true love and is a big supporter of complex self-help books such as Chicken Soup for the Soul and Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. She comes home from a disastrous date and watches a TV show, The Ugly Truth, featuring Mike Chadway talking about relationships. Abby calls to argue with him on air. The next day, she discovers the TV station is threatening to cancel her show because of its poor ratings. The station owner has hired Mike to do a segment on her show. Abby meets a handsome doctor named Colin. Mike convinces her that by following his advice, she will improve her chances with Colin. Abby makes a deal. If Mike's management of her courtship results in her landing Colin, proving his theories on relationships, she will work happily and peacefully with him. But if Mike fails, he agrees to leave her show. Mike succeeds in improving the ratings, brings married co-anchors Georgia and Larry closer, and successfully instructs Abby to act exactly as he says. Mike is invited to appear on the show with Craig Ferguson and is offered a job at another network. Abby is forced to cancel a weekend with Colin and instead fly to Los Angeles to persuade Mike to stay with her show. Abby soon realizes Colin only likes the woman she has been pretending to be, not the real her. She breaks up with him. Second place, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. 4 Weddings and a Funeral became a huge success and the highest-grossing British film in history at the time, with a worldwide box office total of $245.7 million. In 1999, 4 Weddings and a Funeral placed 23rd on the British Film Institute's 100 Greatest British Films of the 20th Century. At the wedding of Angus and Laura in Somerset, Charles falls for Carolyn, and the two spend the night together. In the morning, Carrie jokingly demands that Charles propose to her, observing that they may have missed a great opportunity, and then leaves for the United States. 3 months later, at the wedding of Bernard and Lydia in London, Charles meets Carrie again, who is now accompanied by her Scottish fiancé, Hamish. Charles faces further humiliation from several of his ex-girlfriends, including Henrietta, and retreats to an empty hotel suite where he watches Carrie and Hamish depart. Carrie reappears and she and Charles spend another night together. A month later, Charles receives an invitation to Carrie's wedding. While shopping for a gift, he runs into Carrie and helps her select a wedding dress. Charles confesses his love to her, but is unsuccessful. 1 month later, Charles and his friends attend Carrie's wedding in Scotland. Charles watches Carrie and Hamish dance and asks Fiona why she is single. She confesses that she has loved Charles since they first met. 10 months later, Charles's wedding day arrives. The bride turns out to be Henrietta. Carrie arrives and tells Charles that she and Hamish have separated. Before we get to the top spot on our list, here's a look at some honorable mentions.
You called a radio station? Christmas Eve. He phones in one of those radio call-in shows.
Sleepless in Seattle?
That's what you called him on the show because he can't sleep.
And now 2,000 women want his number.
Web?
No, I don't like to eat between meals.
A faceless guy rips off your clothes, and that's the sex fantasy you've been having since you were 12.
I need you around this weekend. You have a problem with that?
It's my grandmother's 90th birthday, so I was going to go home and...
Application is denied. You're being deported.
I'm from Canada.
Pardon the interruption.
We might as well be honest with each other. Just tell me, did you sleep with her?
Jasper, what's the story with you two anyway? I'm head over heels, you know.
Throughout the years, working title films and writer Richard Curtis have captured the euphoria. Join this unforgettable filmmaking team.
I met this guy.
It was the best week of my life. When I asked for his phone number, he told me.
But one day, the unthinkable happened.
Blinded by the light.
Computer. I go online.
Welcome.
And my breath catches in my chest. Is it infidelity if you're involved with someone on email?
This woman is the most adorable creature I've ever been in contact with.
How-to girl. I want to write about things that matter.
What are you working on now?
How to lose a guy.
I can sell myself to any woman.
I'd like to see you prove that.
You would.
Make a woman fall in love with you.
First place, Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman is a 1990 film featuring Hector Elizondo, Ralph Bellamy, Laura San Giacomo, and Jason Alexander. The film was the third highest grossing film of 1990. Roberts received a Golden Globe Award and a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance. Edward Lewis, a high-powered corporate raider from New York, buys and dismantles struggling companies, selling off the assets for profit. He wants his girlfriend to accompany him during a business trip, but ends up on Hollywood Boulevard in the city's red light district. There he meets a prostitute, Vivian Ward. He pays Vivian to drive him to the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel. He hires her for the night and finds her charming and gets on well with her. The next day, he asks Vivian to play his girlfriend and join him in his meetings with different companies. Edward offers Vivian $3,000 for 6 days and a new wardrobe. Vivian excitedly accepts, but when she attempts to go shopping on Rodeo Drive, she is turned away by the rude saleswoman and turns to Barney, the hotel's manager, for help. He teaches her proper etiquette and arranges for her to buy a cocktail dress for an important business dinner that evening. Edward is impressed by Vivian's transformation and falls for her, revealing his personal and business life. Edward's attorney Philip suspects Vivian is a corporate spy. Edward reveals how they met. Philip later propositions Vivian for her services after Edward is finished with her. Vivian is hurt and furious at Edward for exposing her. Edward apologizes and takes Vivian by private jet to see La Traviata at the San Francisco Opera. So what are your thoughts on these romantic movies? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.